I'd like to know why. I'm from the Maritime Union of Australia, and it seems to me that what you've put forward is about the destruction of 4,000 seafaring jobs, a flow on to about 10,000 jobs on the coast. It's about handing over our coast to Liberian tankers who pay no tax, exploit workers and have an appalling safety record, destroying any notion of fuel security in this country, and a plan for ships to run aground on the coast and destroy the barrier reef. One tanker per month is pulled up by AMSA. An Australian tanker has never been contained. So, Deputy Prime Minister, why are you prepared to trade away an entire industry which employs thousands of Australians and expose Australia to considerable risk when it comes to national security, fuel security and damage to our pristine national environment? Is that part of a secret deal to pass the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership? And you say you've consulted the industry. You've never met with the Maritime Union of Australia, which has about 4,000 members in the blue water shipping industry. Why don't you care about their jobs? And through your earlier statement, why do you think it's okay to lie to the Australian people?
Well, I do care very much about Australian jobs in shipping. That's why I don't want the industry to fade away. And it has been fading away under the current regime, which I know the MUA had a key role in drafting. The reality is that that system has failed. The number of ships, as I mentioned, with coastal trading licences has dropped from 30 to 15 over the period of the previous government. The number on the transitional licensing scheme from 16 to 8. The volume of tonnage is down 63%. That is not a story of success. It's a story of failure. It's a story of lost jobs on the on ships, but also lost jobs on the land, because in fact industries have resorted to importing products rather than moving them around our shores. So I think the case for reform is just overwhelming. The current arrangements are failing, and the shipping industry, including the workers on board the ship, will continue to be in decline unless we make changes. Let me say, it's quite extraordinary that people would raise the issue about ships going through the barrier reef. All the coal loading ships and gas ships and other bulk carriers are foreign flagged now, and they're subject to Australian maritime laws, and they have to carry if they're inside and around the reef, they have to carry pilots, and that applies regardless of the flag that they have on the vessel. So we do have a regime that is designed to secure the safety of our precious environmental assets. We have recently succeeded in having the international organisations recognise a new and larger regime to supervise ships coming out of Gladstone, the southern end of the reef. So we have in place very substantial measures to ensure the safety of our environment, and the fact that a vessel has a different flag on it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to have any greater impact one way or the other on the rules that apply to all vessels that go through the reef. Remind you, they have Australian pilots on board. If they're operating with one of these new permits, they're going to have an Australian skipper or second in command. They're going to have Australian engineers on board. And so the reality is, I think the regime of safety, if anything, is going to be enhanced rather than decline. But my overwhelming argument, and the thing that's compelled me to want to proceed with these changes, is that I'm seeing the Australian shipping industry disappear. Its numbers are declining. The opportunities for members of the MUA to work in Australia is in decline and will continue to decline unless we take action to try and make it more competitive, give it a chance to work and to play a rightful and meaningful place in the transport task of our nation. I believe in shipping. Now, I want ships to be carrying cargoes and containers and other freight from port to port around the coast. Now that takes the pressure off the roads and the rail system, but it's also doing the sensible and efficient thing. A lot of the industries are located on the port or very nearby. It's a nonsense to be trucking from one port to another port when there are ships with vacant space or opportunities to be able to carry that cargo. So we're about utilising existing ships and making our marine industries, our maritime industries, more vibrant and survivable into the future. And I think this plan gives us a good chance of doing that.
Well, I think that your plan will see the complete destruction of the Australian shipping industry and the complete destruction of jobs for MUA members. And I ask again whether you're prepared to meet with the Maritime Union and discuss these issues. And it's just wrong. You know, the destruction of the manufacturing industry is largely the basis of the destruction of the Australian coastal shipping industry. And I'd say that your government's played a significant role in the destruction of the manufacturing industry. And when you talk about foreign tankers, one foreign tanker per month is pulled up by AMSA, and we've never had a detention of an Australian tanker. So your statistics don't add up. It's mistruths, misinformation, and quite frankly lies to destroy the industry and hand it over to foreign multinational conglomerates. So again, are you prepared to meet with the union? Seeing you said you've met with all stakeholders.
I'm of course happy to meet with constructive people who want to make a positive contribution.
Is that an answer or not? That's not very much of an answer.
Not a great start, the sort of
typical politician answer.
Because the statistics that I've quoted to you, unfortunately, are the facts. But I'm prepared to meet with all people who've got some constructive things to say about the legislation.
Yeah, Lou's next.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. I think to